A trusted hand prepares his meals every day, but that same hand is poisoning the nation. Ibrahim Traoré discovers his military cook is not just serving food, but serving a conspiracy that reaches into the darkest corners of power. What he uncovers will shake the foundation of trust itself. Before we dive in, what time are you listening, and where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. Please like and subscribe to join the Ibrahim Traoré family. The presidential kitchen in Ouagadougou hums with the usual morning routine. Ibrahim Traoré walks through the corridor toward his office, the Burkina Faso flag visible through the window behind his desk. He passes the kitchen entrance and notices something that makes him pause. His military cook is speaking on a phone, his voice low, his back turned to the door. The cook does not see Ibrahim. He speaks quickly, nervously, and then ends the call the moment he senses someone nearby. When he turns and sees the president standing there, his face changes. Just for a second, a flash of panic before the professional smile returns. Ibrahim says nothing. He nods and continues walking. But that single moment plants a seed of suspicion that will not go away. Later that morning, Ibrahim sits in his office reviewing security reports when a strange detail catches his attention. Food supplies for the presidential kitchen have increased by 30% over the past 3 months. The orders are signed and approved. Everything appears legitimate. But Ibrahim knows his eating habits have not changed. Neither has the size of his staff. So where's the extra food going? He calls for the inventory manager and asks to see the delivery logs. The manager brings thick folders filled with receipts and signatures. Ibrahim scans through them carefully. Every delivery is accounted for. Every item is listed. But when he cross-checks the amounts with the actual meals served, the numbers do not match. Someone is taking food meant for the presidential residence and diverting it elsewhere. Ibrahim closes the folder and dismisses the manager without revealing his suspicion. He needs to understand what is happening before he acts. He decides to watch quietly, to observe, to see who is involved and where the stolen supplies are going. That evening, Ibrahim remains in his office later than usual. The staff begins to leave. The building grows quiet. Through the window, he watches as his military cook loads several boxes into a vehicle parked at the rear entrance. The boxes are unmarked, but Ibrahim recognizes them. They are the same containers used for presidential kitchen supplies. The cook looks around nervously, then drives away into the night. Ibrahim does not follow immediately. Instead, he calls his most trusted security officer and gives a quiet order. Track that vehicle. See where it goes. Do not interfere. Just watch. The officer reports back 2 hours later. The vehicle traveled to a warehouse on the outskirts of Ouagadougou. The cook unloaded the boxers and met with 3 other individuals. Money was exchanged. Then the cook returned to his residence. Ibrahim sits in silence, processing this information. His cook is not just stealing food, he is selling it. But to whom? And why would anyone pay for stolen military supplies? The answer comes the next morning. Ibrahim receives an urgent report from a military outpost near the northern border. Soldiers stationed there have been complaining about food shortages for weeks. Rations are insufficient. Supplies that were promised never arrived. Morale is dropping. Some soldiers are growing weak from inadequate nutrition. Ibrahim pulls the supply records for that outpost. According to the documents, full rations were delivered on schedule. The signatures confirm receipt, but the soldiers say otherwise. Either the records are false or the food is being stolen somewhere between the warehouse and the outpost. Ibrahim makes a connection that chills him to the bone. What if the food being stolen from his kitchen is not the only source? What if someone is diverting supplies meant for soldiers across the country? Soldiers who are defending the nation against threats. Soldiers who depend on those rations to survive. This is not just theft, this is sabotage. Ibrahim orders an immediate audit of all military food supplies nationwide. The audit team works through the night, checking records, verifying deliveries, interviewing warehouse staff. What they discover is far worse than Ibrahim imagined. Over 40% of military food supplies have been diverted over the past year. The theft is systematic and coordinated. Food arrives at central warehouses, gets recorded in the official logs, but then disappears before reaching the soldiers. False delivery receipts are created, fake signatures are forged, and the stolen supplies are sold on the black market for massive profit. But who has the access and authority to orchestrate something this large? Ibrahim reviews the chain of command. Only a handful of officials have clearance to approve military supply routes. Only a few individuals can alter delivery schedules without raising suspicion. And one name appears consistently across every diverted shipment. A senior logistics officer in the Defense Ministry, Ibrahim knows this man. He has worked in the ministry for years. He has a reputation for efficiency and loyalty. He has access to every warehouse, every supply route, every signature that matters. And if he is involved, he did not act alone. The military cook is just one piece, a small part of a much larger network. Ibrahim decides to set a trap. He orders a special food delivery to a remote military base in Djibo. The delivery is logged in the system with full details, high-value supplies, urgently needed. Scheduled to depart the next morning, but Ibrahim does not send real supplies. Instead, he sends empty containers marked with hidden tracking devices. He wants to see where they go, who intercepts them, and who ultimately profits from the theft. The containers leave the warehouse at dawn. Ibrahim's security team follows from a distance, staying hidden, watching every movement. The delivery vehicle travels north toward Djibo, as expected. But 50 kilometers outside the city, it makes an unscheduled stop. Another vehicle is waiting at a deserted junction. The driver transfers the containers from the military truck to the unmarked vehicle. Money changes hands. The military truck continues toward Djibo with nothing in its cargo bay. The unmarked vehicle turns back toward Ouagadougou. Ibrahim's team follows the unmarked vehicle. It leads them straight to the warehouse where the cook had delivered stolen goods days earlier. The same warehouse, the same location. This is the central hub of the entire operation. But the warehouse is not owned by the logistics officer. It is registered to a private company, a shell corporation with no public records and no obvious ownership. Ibrahim's investigators dig deeper. The company is linked to offshore accounts. The accounts are controlled by individuals with no official ties to the military or government. On the surface, the operation looks completely separate from the Defense Ministry. But Ibrahim knows better. Someone inside the ministry is feeding information to the thieves. Someone is approving fake shipments. Someone is ensuring that stolen supplies never get investigated, and that someone is protected by powerful people who do not want this network exposed. Ibrahim decides to take a different approach. He does not raid the warehouse. He does not arrest the cook. Instead, he lets the operation continue as if nothing is wrong. He wants the network to feel safe, to grow careless, to make a mistake that reveals the true mastermind. Days pass, more shipments are diverted, more supplies disappear. The thieves grow bolder, stealing larger quantities, taking bigger risks. And then, Ibrahim gets the break he needs. One of the warehouse workers is arrested for an unrelated crime. During questioning, he panics and offers information in exchange for leniency. He admits that the warehouse is a distribution point for stolen military supplies. He names the logistics officer as the coordinator, and he reveals something even more damaging. The operation is not just stealing food, they are also diverting weapons, ammunition, and equipment meant for soldiers in conflict zones. Ibrahim feels his jaw tighten. Soldiers are dying because they lack ammunition. Outposts are overrun because they lack equipment. And all the while, these supplies are being sold to the highest bidder, including groups that are fighting against Burkina Faso. This is treason. Ibrahim orders the immediate arrest of the warehouse worker and places him under protective custody. But he does not move against the logistics officer yet, because the worker revealed one more critical piece of information. The logistics officer reports directly to someone higher. Someone in the presidential cabinet, someone who has the power to shut down investigations and silence whistleblowers. Ibrahim now faces an impossible situation. If he moves too quickly, the evidence will be destroyed. If he waits too long, more soldiers will die. And if he accuses someone in his own cabinet without proof, the entire government could fracture. He needs undeniable evidence, something that cannot be hidden or denied. That night, Ibrahim makes a decision that puts him in direct danger. He will personally visit the warehouse. Not as the president, not with security. He will go alone, disguised, and see the operation with his own eyes. He will gather evidence that no one can dispute. His security officer objects. It is too dangerous. If Ibrahim is recognized, he could be killed. The people running this operation have already shown they are willing to let soldiers die. They will not hesitate to eliminate the president if he threatens their profits. But Ibrahim insists he cannot ask his soldiers to risk their lives if he is unwilling to risk his own. The next evening, Ibrahim travels to the warehouse in Ouagadougou without his usual convoy. He arrives as shipments are being unloaded. Workers move boxes from military trucks to unmarked vehicles. The operation runs smoothly, efficiently, as if it has been perfected over years. Ibrahim watches from the shadows. He sees his military cook directing workers, checking inventory, handling payments. The cook is not a minor player. He is a key coordinator, ensuring that stolen goods flow seamlessly from the presidential kitchen into this network. But then Ibrahim sees something that makes his blood run cold. A government vehicle pulls up to the warehouse. A high-ranking cabinet minister steps out. Not just any minister, the Minister of Defense, the man responsible for overseeing all military operations, the man who sits in meetings with Ibrahim and pledges to protect the nation. The minister walks through the warehouse inspecting the stolen goods as if he owns them. He speaks with the logistics officer, he reviews financial records, and then he makes a phone call. Ibrahim cannot hear the words, but the minister's tone is clear. He is giving orders. He is in control. This is not just a theft ring. This is a conspiracy at the highest level of government. Ibrahim realizes he is witnessing something far more dangerous than he anticipated. If the defense minister is involved, then the entire military supply chain is compromised. Every order Ibrahim gives, every operation he approves, everything could be undermined by a man who is supposed to be his most trusted ally. But Ibrahim cannot confront the minister here. Not alone, not without backup. He needs to retreat, gather his evidence, and expose this conspiracy in a way that leaves no room for denial. He turns to leave, moving carefully through the shadows toward his vehicle. But as he steps into the open, a light suddenly shines on him. Someone has spotted him. A guard shouts. Others come running. Ibrahim quickens his pace, but more lights appear. He is surrounded. The workers recognize him now. The president here, alone. The military cook steps forward, his face a mixture of shock and fear. He reaches for a phone, but Ibrahim speaks first. His voice is calm, commanding, carrying the weight of authority, even in this moment of vulnerability. He does not threaten, he does not plead, he simply tells them the truth. Soldiers are dying because of what they are doing here. The nation is being betrayed by men who profit from its suffering, and every person in this warehouse is complicit in treason. The workers hesitate. Some lower their eyes. Others glance nervously at the cook, waiting for orders. The cook stares at Ibrahim, realizing that the president now knows everything. The operation is exposed. There is no going back. But before anyone can act, vehicles surround the warehouse. Headlights flood the area. Ibrahim's security team has been following him the entire time, staying hidden, waiting for the right moment. Now they move in, blocking all exits, securing the scene. The defense minister tries to flee, but soldiers cut him off. The logistics officer attempts to destroy evidence, but files are seized before he can reach them. The cook drops to his knees, knowing his role in this betrayal is now undeniable. Ibrahim stands in the center of the warehouse. As his team secures every person and every document, he does not speak. He does not need to. His presence here, his willingness to risk everything to uncover the truth, sends a message louder than any words. No one is above justice. Not ministers, not officers, not anyone who betrays the soldiers who fight for this nation. The next morning, the entire country learns what happened. Ibrahim calls an emergency session in the parliament building, the Burkina Faso flag hanging prominently behind him. He presents the evidence in front of cameras, in front of the nation, in front of the world. Photographs of the warehouse, financial records showing millions stolen, testimony from the warehouse worker, and the most damaging piece of evidence, surveillance footage showing the defense minister personally overseeing the operation. The chamber erupts in shock and outrage. Some officials try to defend the minister. Others demand immediate action, but Ibrahim does not argue. He simply presents the facts and lets them speak for themselves. The defense minister is arrested on the floor of parliament. The logistics officer is taken into custody. The military cook and dozens of warehouse workers face charges of treason, and the investigation expands to uncover every person involved in the network. Over the following weeks, audits revealed the full scale of the theft. Hundreds of millions in military supplies stolen. Soldiers across the country left vulnerable because their rations and equipment never arrived, and all of it orchestrated by men who were supposed to protect the nation. But Ibrahim does not stop there. He orders a complete restructuring of military supply chains, new oversight systems, independent audits, random inspections, every step designed to ensure this can never happen again. In a remote military outpost near Jibo, soldiers receive their first full rations in months. Real food, adequate supplies, equipment that actually works. For the first time in a long time, they can do their jobs without wondering if their own leaders are sabotaging them. Ibrahim visits the outpost personally. He does not make speeches, he does not seek praise, he simply walks among the soldiers, shakes their hands, and listens to their concerns. One young soldier thanks him for exposing the corruption, for caring enough to risk his own safety. Ibrahim looks at the soldier and sees the reason he fights. Not for power, not for recognition, but for people like this. People who serve their country with honor and deserve leaders who will not betray them. As Ibrahim prepares to leave, he thinks about the military cook, the man who prepared his meals every day while stealing from the nation, the man who smiled and served while soldiers went hungry, the man who was trusted and respected until his greed consumed his integrity. Betrayal is not always loud. Sometimes it happens quietly, in small acts repeated over time. A stolen box here, a diverted shipment there. Until the damage becomes catastrophic and the cost is measured in lives. But justice is also quiet sometimes. It does not always come with fanfare or celebration. Sometimes it comes in the form of a leader willing to walk into danger, willing to confront the people he trusted, willing to risk everything to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The question is not whether corruption exists, it always will. The question is whether leaders have the courage to face it when it hides behind friendly faces and official titles, whether they will choose truth over comfort, justice over convenience. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.